It's time for Loudest Voice of the Week. We had a Kash Patel Senate testimony this morning. It was abruptly interrupted by a pro-Palestinian protester. And this interruption seemingly prompted Senator Tom Cotton to start talking crap on that individual after he had been removed from the room. And then another protester from Code Plink decided to chime in and defend him a little bit and was also thrown out. But there is a moment in here that makes this the loudest voice of the week because Tom Cotton looks like a complete buffoon trying to pretend that the individual they just threw out of the doors, pretending that they were somehow a lunatic for saying the thing that they said about the U.S.-Israel war machine. Check it out.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Vice Chairman.
Witness will suspend.
The greatest threat to global security is Israel, and the whole world knows it. Stop funding Israel! Stop funding Israel! Stop funding Israel!
Stop funding Israel. Stop funding Israel. Stop funding Israel. I'm going to back it up. Look at Kash Patel's face, by the way. Look at this guy. Look at this Zionist FBI director. Look at his face. He looks afraid. You know what? He doesn't look afraid of the guy yelling. He looks afraid at his handlers and what they're going to say to him after this. He looks like a guy that is not looking forward to the conversation that will follow once the cameras are turned off. He's not looking forward to that conversation behind closed doors with his Zionist handlers. Oh, not at all, Kash. You're not looking forward to that one. But you got to put up with this as it goes. Let's hear that part again, and then we'll hear Tom Cotton's horrible response to this guy, and then the follow-up protesters who came to the rescue. It's kind of like a 1-2 punch. Here we go.
Threat to global security is Israel, and the whole world knows it. Stop funding Israel! Stop funding Israel! Stop funding Israel! Stop funding Israel!
So that protester was a Code Pink lunatic, saying the greatest threat to world peace is funding Israel.
He should have just left it as he's a Code Pink lunatic. That could have just, at least you could have just ended your little soundbite. But then what you did, Tom Cotton, was you accidentally, well, maybe not accidentally, you thought it was a good maneuver to qualify the lunatic accusation. And then you just simply said what his concern was. That the greatest threat to our democracy is the funding of the state of Israel, which is 100% true. And if you don't agree with that, which you have every right to not agree with it, it's funny that you jump to lunatic name calling rather than say, you know what? We acknowledge that that's an actual point of view. The same way we have different opinions on different ideologies, and we don't just say the reds and the blues. Well, I guess maybe we are. Maybe we're at the point where we say the other side are insane. They're lunatics. They're dangerous. They're domestic terrorists. They're garbage. They're deplorables. Hillary Clinton started that shit back in 2016. Deplorables. So maybe that's the thing. If you disagree, you're a lunatic now. And then you just repeated the messaging, which was actually, I think, a bad move on Tom Cotton's part, because everybody knows if you want to be successful with your propaganda, you got to repeat the message of your enemy and make it sound crazy. That's how you win a debate. You create the narrative of your opposition. You hype it up to a place that sounds totally insane. We know they did that with the anti-vaxxer campaign. They said anti-vaxxers say there's chips in our arm and we're all going to become robots, which is a conversation worth having, but it's not. That wasn't the thing. And they knew it wasn't the thing, but they deliberately said, this is what they're doing. They're going around with, tinfoil hats, when really it was they're concerned about an experimental jab that they're forcing people to take that they don't want to take, and they don't want their kids to take because the kids aren't showing signs that they're having any problems with COVID, and they really shouldn't be used as lab rats. So no, Tom Cotton, what he should have done here, he should have either stopped the sentence at lunatic or come up with a lie about what his problem was. But he said the actual problem, which is what the problem is. And he looks a little foolish doing that. I want to hear that reaction again from Tom Cotton. This is funny. Here we go.
So that protester was a code pink lunatic saying the greatest threat to world peace is funding Israel.
Yep.
I will observe, for the benefit of the audience here on television, that Code Pink is funded by communist China as well, which simply illustrates. Speak up now if you want to be removed as well, whoever's saying that. If anyone else would like to join them, speak now, please, so we don't have any more disruptions.
Yeah, way to keep the peace there, Tom Cotton. That and again, I think that was the biggest mistake he made was spelling out the problem. It is of course it's a threat to our democracy. Of course it is the biggest threat on the planet. The funding of an illegal occupied military state, an ethno state, an apartheid state, who's starting wars with every neighboring country that's using our taxpayer money. Of course, that's the biggest. Why would it not be? And who's helping to silence free speech here and anybody who's speaking out against this, as they just demonstrated in that room, Kash Patel Senate hearing room, where you're throwing people out. Now, of course, you got to, you're going to be loud and disruptive. You're going to be thrown out. But to call him a lunatic for saying the thing that we're all saying, we're all thinking, you're on the wrong side of this, Tom Cotton, and good for Code Pink for standing up for each other, and coming to the defense of each other, and getting thrown out, which is part of the deal. That's what happens when you interrupt, when you disrupt, you get thrown out. So, loudest voice of the week goes to the team at Code Pink who gave a 1-2 punch to Tom Cotton and to Kash Patel, who was sitting there, the Zionist FBI director, sitting there with a look of deer in headlights on his face as to, I'm not looking forward to my next meeting with my Zionist handlers. Well, have fun with that, Kash. That is loudest voice of the week.